Hi guys, my name is Irene Johnson. I'm here with the Collier County Public Library. I'm a program coordinator and we're going to be discussing a great book today. And I have my guest speaker.
Yes, thank you Irene for inviting me. Hello, I am Susan Petter. I am a youth librarian with the Collier County Library and I am very excited to talk about this book today.
So we are going to get into it. The first thing we want to do is talk about the author. So if you want to take a look at our slide, you can see a picture of her. Her name is Shelby Von Pelt, and one of the things that's most interesting about this book is this is her first book. It's a debut novel, and I have to say, for a debut novel, I was very impressed. This was written in 2022, so just a year ago, but it's a relatively new novel, and it's been on the bestseller list for quite a while, so it's definitely gotten a lot of hype, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll see if it measures up. So question one. So Susan, what was your overall impression of the book? On a Goodreads scale of 1 to 5 stars, what would you give it and why?
All right, well I have to say that disclaimer, I'm usually a nonfiction or a biography reader, but Irene convinced me to read this book because of the animal part of it. I was just afraid that the octopus was going to die. The whole time I was nervous that something was going to happen to Marcellus, and so I was a little bit nervous until well into the book. I would give it a 4. I thought the characters were great. They thought like I thought. Cameron was a little bit of a smart aleck, and I kind of like that, and I like Toba too.
So you went with 4, which I guess it's not too exciting that I would also give the book a 4. But I have to tell you, when I first picked up this book and everybody said, it's great, I was like, it's about an octopus. How am I going to love this book? I was not really impressed with the idea. But actually, I gave it a shot, and this book had amazing characters, great plot development, and it really touched me. So I would recommend this book for any reader because my genre is also not pet books or animal books, and I really love this book. So I would recommend it to everybody because I think even the nonfiction readers, give it a try.
And it had a little bit of a mystery where you were trying to figure out what was happening in the story.
So it had more than just your typical rom-com. It definitely wasn't a romantic comedy. So question 2. Go ahead and ask me.
Oh, Irene.
Yes.
What kind of person do you think Marcellus would be if he were human? What qualities do Marcellus and Toba both share that make this remarkable friendship a success?
So, okay, I'm going to start with the first part of the question. It says, what kind of person do you think Marcellus would be if he was human? In the book, he really feels human, almost. He really relates in that way because he has these little biographies that he reads every day about himself, autobiographies. And I see him as a curmudgeon. I see him as a little old man with a mustache and, like, wearing a sweater and just being like, I don't like anybody. None of you are smart enough. I'm not into this. And I just see him kind of like that curmudgeon-y old man, but if you really got to know him, he has a big heart. Like he's a softie, like maybe he really loves cats, and he pets his cat when nobody's looking. I don't know, but that's kind of how I see Marcellus. What do you think?
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, he seemed like the typical crabby old man, a little bit high and mighty, you know, where he said that he knows but more things than humans, and he's better than some of the other fish, and it was interesting that some of the fish he ate the sea cucumbers, but he stayed away from the ones with the pointy teeth. So that was good. And you want to do the second half of the question?
Sure. What qualities do I think Marcellus and Toba both share? I think they both share the quality of being good people or good octopus, but it's almost like he is a person. So I think they're all around, they're good people. They have that quality to them that you want to know them, and they are very sound people, very ethical people. I feel like they would always err on black and white, and they would always err on the side of others. They were very kind. Even though I said he was a curmudgeon, I still think he had a soft spot for certain things, and he could be kind, maybe.
Yes. But both of them really acted like they knew best, and Toba, they're kind of little. Had some background about, maybe sometimes she was a little bit judgy, and Marcellus was a little bit judgy. But I can see they were both loners doing their thing, trying to figure out their place in the world. And really, I thought the theme of what comes next. What will Marcellus do next? What will Toba do next? I was a little The part that made me nervous as the animal lover was that they had the new octopus delivered and that was going to go in his tank. And I thought, well, where's Marcellus going to go? Are they going to euthanize him? Do they think he's dying? What's going on with that transition?
Absolutely. All right, question 3. On page 9, Tova empathizes with the sharks in the big aquarium tank, musing that she understands what it means to never be able to stop moving, lest you find yourself unable to breathe. Why do you think she felt compelled to keep busy? And what would happen if she suddenly stopped? Go ahead.
Oh.
You're up.
At first. Okay, well, definitely I know a lot of people like this. A good and bad. Good, if you're an older person, everyone says, hey, you got to keep working. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. You got to keep busy. If you're active, you're busy. You stay healthy. You stay engaged with life. People keep moving. Then on the sad part of that could be people want to keep moving because they're distracted from their problems. They don't want to rest and really think about things.
I agree with you. I think that the emotional side of this novel is that Tova lost a teenage son very early. And he was in a boating accident, but a lot of people called it suicide. And so she was very much struggling with the grief of her son. So I think part of her keeping busy once was for financials, but the other, I think it was because she grieved her son and she had to keep moving. I think she felt like if she stopped, she would be overcome with grief and just not be able to put it out of her mind and keep moving and keep functioning. So I think she almost wore herself into exhaustion so that when she went to sleep at night, she could go to sleep. Because I think sometimes when you have big grief, and I've been there, like when I lost my parents, sometimes you want to be so busy and so tired that you go home and you just go to bed and you can sleep. Because if you thought about it, you would cry yourself to bed over and over because it's a sad happening. And that was my parents who followed the chain of life the right way. You assume parents are always going to pass at some point. You don't expect to lose your child. And I can imagine this character just being heartbroken.
Yes. And also with that was part of her routine too. Very routine driven.
Yep.
She did the crossword the same way all the time. She always dusted under the tail in the aquarium. When they didn't give her the right cleaning products, she brought her own cleaning products. They went a long time talking about how she was instructing Cameron to do the trash can setup. So with that routine, I think that kind of gave her some happiness that she could expect things were done a certain way.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes if something unexpected happens in life, you want to go back to your routine to kind of be where things are safe.
Yeah.
And predictable.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Mm-hmm. Right, number 4. Marcellus is extremely smart, smarter than any human he encounters. Have you had any encounters with animals, octopuses or otherwise, who demonstrated surprising levels of intelligence, emotional or otherwise?
Okay, I'm going to fess up right now. I'm a dog person. I love dogs. And this is a little sad to me because I lost my puppy about 3 weeks ago. But he was brilliant. He was smart, but he was really smart. I mean, he knew when we came home, he wouldn't bark, but he would, if a different car came in the driveway and it wasn't ours, he'd bark like crazy. So it's like he recognized our car. And when we got a new car, we came home and he barked like crazy. So it's like he had to have time to identify what cars we came home with, and he would know. It was amazing. I thought that was amazing. Plus he knew basic commands like sit, stay. But the other thing about my dog, both my dogs really, when I was sick, I swear they sense it. And they come and they just kind of sit with you and they're calm. He's normally not a calm puppy. But he would come and he'd just lay next to me and kind of bring me peace. And I would swear that they could almost sense that you didn't feel well and you just needed that love. So I'm definitely a dog person. I've encountered it with dogs immensely.
Good, yes. Well, I could talk hours and hours about animals, how special they are, the bonds you have with animals. I'm sure you've heard of animals that have saved their owners' lives by attacking a burglar or doing things like that. Now, I don't know if you've seen on the internet now, they have these little buttons where people have their dogs press a button to go out or to do whatever. It's really amazing.
It's crazy. Like if they have to go potty, they go up and they hit the one that says, bathroom or whatever it says, and the dog will hit the right button and it's supposed to notify you have to go to the bathroom, or they want food, or they need water, or whatever. I've never seen it work, but I've seen the idea. It looks cool.
Yes. All back in the day, my friends, their dog would ring a bell if he had to go out.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
That's
But yes,
great.
we are very lucky. We love animals. You have special animals, of course, that touch your lives. So definitely meet some very special animals.
And in this book, Marcellus, I think, is that special animal to Tova.
Yes.
He becomes that attachment, and it's in the book. It's actually both ways. Marcellus begins to really care for Tova, and Tova cares for him. So it really starts that development and that friendship, which I gotta be honest, like I said in the beginning of the book, I'm like, what is this? You're falling in love with an octopus? This is weird. But in the book, it's really awesome, how she does it, because she makes him so real.
Yes.
And if you listen to the book, Marcellus has the best voice. So even if you don't love to read books, the audio version of this book is spot on. It's really good.
Good. Actually, did this for me.
So question number 5. Marcellus remarks on page 59 that fingerprints are like keys with their specific shape. I remember all keys too. From the house key Tova loses to the ring of keys Marcellus finds at the bottom of the sea. The novel is filled with various types of keys. What do you think keys symbolizes in this novel?
Oh, now see, this is the one on the test that I don't think I would get right. I did notice the keys, and that's why I want to do a little bit of a discussion, because yes, there's keys, but I didn't really get a connection of what the keys meant.
I think because there's a mystery in this book. So the mystery in this book, and we are doing spoilers, so just putting it out there, is that Cameron comes to the aquarium, and basically Tova hurts herself, and Cameron takes her place cleaning. And he's basically the other main character of the book. He almost has his own side story. And his side story is he doesn't know his biological father, and he thinks it's somebody that lives in the little town they're from, and he keeps trying to track it down. Well, in the end, you find out that his actual biological father is Tova's son, Eric, the one that passed away. And so I think that mystery is like a key kind of symbolizes opening something, like opening a mystery or solving the mystery. The other place I could think of keys is like opening your heart. You know how they say like the keys to your heart a lot is referenced? Like they're both really scared. Tova was a widow, and Marcellus was by himself. And they were kind of maybe not great at developing new friendships, but they were opening themselves up to something new. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I saw that. Like I said, I thought, oh, this is very interesting with the keys. I saw some other themes. I just felt so bad for Cameron that he just kind of kept messing up, and it wasn't really his fault, but he kind of had some bad luck in life, and also was maybe a little bit not motivated. But then toward the end, when he made his choice and turned around, I was very happy.
Yeah, it was awesome, and that was kind of like the key to the mystery, because when he finally turned around and came back, that was when everybody found out, and it turned out that although her son was gone, she had a grandson, and she really did still have family. Because this whole tone of the book, she's going to look at like assisted living facilities and things like that, because she doesn't have anybody, and she's like, all of her friends are in this Nitwits club. Remember the Nitwits?
Yes.
All of her friends are basically, their families are like setting them up to come live with them, or some other type of situation, and she's sitting there going, well, where do I go? I don't have anybody. I don't have a husband, and I don't have family that's going to take care of me. And so she starts looking down that path, and now she has a grandson. And she kind of changes her tune about that. All right, question number 6. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Tova's Swedish dollar horses are some of her most treasured possessions. Why do you think that is? Are there heirlooms in your family that carry a similar significance?
So before we answer this question, Susan has one. So we're going to kind of show it on the camera.
Yes.
I'm going to give it to you to show off.
Yes.
And tell where you got it.
Yes. So if you know anything about Swedish history, this is a Dala horse. They're definitely a symbol of Sweden, and they are made in the area of Dalarna, Sweden. So I got this on my trip to Sweden, and I'm definitely a sentimental person, a collectible person, a family heirloom person. But I'll get until it's my turn to ask that question. But this is what the Dala horse is. If you had a question about what is that. I noticed when I was reading A Man Called Ove, which I think is a similar book to this, there were a lot of Swedish references, so if you have an idea of what this is, it'll help you out.
So the Swedish Dala horses are important to her because they were from, I believe they were from her parents, and they were from Sweden, and it really showed her roots, and I think she was very, she had a good relationship with her mother and father. Unfortunately, they had passed away and she was older, but I think they brought back good memories, and it also gave her some roots because she knew where she was from. Do I have heirlooms in my family that we carry? Yes, we have. I think the one that comes to mind first is I have a secretary that's made out of cherry oak wood, and it was my husband's great grandmother's. She got it for her 18th birthday, so it's over 150 years old, and it's beautiful. It's still in really good shape, and we were gifted that by his father because he was given it, and he moved into a mobile home, so there was no room for this, so I have it at my house. But it keeps, this is kind of sentimental, the drawers in it you can open, and what I do is all the really cute things my kids have made me over the years are kept inside the drawers of the secretary, so it's kind of sweet. Like, it's sentimental, and it has all the little sentimental things in it, like, when your kids make you those things like candy necklaces you don't want to wear, yep, they're in there. Or the party hats, I have those in there too.
Aww,
so that's kind of nice. What about you? What do you think she had them?
Oh, yes, for sure. So it was definitely coming from her parents, and it was interesting. I kind of resonated with that part because she really enjoyed, she's thinking back to her childhood and back to the history and what it took for her parents to come down and make the house and build the house. And then kind of the family tree stopped at her because she no longer had a son, no longer had a child, so it was just her left, which is, I guess, being single with no children. I feel like that sometimes too. I so appreciate my family history, but then I feel like, well, I'm kind of dropping the ball because once I'm gone, that's it. But in terms of collectible things, definitely all over my house is something, a painting from my grandmother. I have my great-grandparents' kitchen table. I have other things too. I even have like random stuff that is from somebody else's grandma that I got at Goodwill. So I definitely have
a collection.
I'm a collector, librarian,
Absolutely, we collect all of our important things.
Yes.
So we're going to go on to question number 7. All right. This novel explores different characters who are faced with major choices. They can open themselves up to something new and take on an unexpected, daring opportunity, or they can continue on as they've been. Have you ever faced a moment in your life where a critical choice could challenge everything? Did you take the leap or not?
Ooh. Okay, so, yes, I'm sure everybody has those, so many questions of where do you go to school, where do you move to, things like that. For me, it was moving to Florida. I was very excited. I always wanted to live in Florida, and the library job opened up. They were building the headquarters library. They don't build a lot of new libraries nowadays, so when I came here, it was a very exciting time. They said I would have this job. I would be close to Disney World, which I love. I was away from most of my family, but then eventually all of my family ended up moving to Florida with me. So it was a good decision at the time, and I'm glad I did it. And of the bad decisions I made in my life, you have to say, well, I did what I could at the time and with what I knew, and now that I know better, I do better.
Absolutely. They call us like the fork in the road.
Yes.
How many forks in the road have you gotten to? And I think one of the big forks in my road was when I made the decision to go in the Air Force. I shocked the heck out of my mom. I came home one day and told her I signed up to go in the Air Force, and she was like, "You did what?" And she was completely shocked. I was a little shocked. But it really was a great choice. Being in the military really allowed me to meet people from all over the world, and it helped me grow as a person. This was my first time really on my own by myself, and I really had that. And while I was in the military, I had 2 of my children, so they were the lights of my life, so I would always be thankful. A second road that came to me in the military was I was given the option to go officer. And if my life didn't include those 2 beautiful children, I would have taken it. So sometimes I always wonder, would my life have been different if I didn't have kids and I stayed in the military? But I still think I made a good choice for what I have, and I love being a mom, and I love being here at the library now, so here I am. But I think we can always look back and think, oh, what would have happened if I just picked a different fork? But what I would say to people is, if there's a risk out there and there's a chance, take it. I mean, if you fall and you bump, okay, what did you learn from it, and keep going. Because a lot of times, you stay in your safe zone too much and you really miss out on life. And life's pretty good if you take some risks. At least I think so.
Yes, yes. And it's never too late. Just because you're not 20 or 30 anymore, if something's going to take you 10 years to do, 10 years are going to go by, and did you do that thing? So
I always look at George W. Bush, the senior one. I always get him backwards. I think he's not George W. I think he's George H. But anyway, he was jumping out of airplanes when he was like 90. I'm like, you're crazy and incredible. I don't know about jumping out of airplanes, but it's definitely a risk taker. But yeah, he was still doing tandem jumps when he was like 90 years old. So I always thought that was cool. All right, this is our last question. This is question number 8. And I think it's my turn, right? Or is it your turn?
My turn.
Okay.
Why not? In the last few pages of the novel, Tova and Cameron realize how they are truly connected. What do you imagine they're doing a year from the novel's end?
So in the novel, we kind of gave the spoiler. Tova finds out that Cameron is her son. So I imagine that he is spending time with her. I imagine that he's taken over the job from her so she doesn't feel that pressure. And maybe she's okay to stop because she truly knows what happened to Eric, and it wasn't an accident. It wasn't that he committed suicide. And so I think she's kind of relaxed and she's enjoying life. I think she may have decided to date Ethan, which I always hoped in the novel. I think she may be maybe looking towards getting married again and having have family like that. So that's kind of how I picture them.
Yes. And I hope he's still dating that girl.
Yes.
And I hope he's dating the girl.
Yeah. What is her name? I don't remember. Avery.
I hope he's still dating Avery. And her son's being a little bit more nice to him. And I hope that Tova is being nice to the new octopus.
Yes. Even though Marcellus is gone, and she does let him out, if you don't know. So he gets to go back to the ocean. And he doesn't die. At least not in the book.
Yes.
So it's a good story. But overall, I would recommend it. What about you?
Yeah, oh yes, highly recommend it, yes.
So we're really excited about this book. If you want to join us next week and talk about it, we have a Zoom discussion. We call it the Virtual Book Club. If you just go to collierlibrary.org/events, you can sign up for it, and we would love to hear your thoughts on the book. Talk to you soon.